Greetings, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about the narcissist controlling the narrative. For every narcissist that I have known personally, it is imperative, it is necessary, it is the only answer that the narcissist absolutely must control the narrative. And especially if you figure them out for who they are. It's like, for example, if you were friends with a person and at first you thought they were really cool, and then you start to notice little things that are weird. You're like putting two and two together and you're like, what they're saying is not adding up with what they're doing or whatever it is. Nothing pisses off the narcissist more than when you start to figure out their little fake castle and it begins to crumble because the fake castle is not real. I would say things to notice when a person is trying to control how the story goes. How another person is perceived by others, that's a huge red flag. You have to ask yourself, why is it so important to that person to skew or shape someone else's perception of this person? Now, it's not like say some crazy like drama type stuff happened between yourself and two of your friends. One's a gay male friend, one is another heterosexual female like myself, and there was just like some real crazy stuff that went down. You all went out, partied, had a good time, and then let's call this gal Marissa. Marissa was just being a real super pain in the ass, being obnoxious, not wanting to leave the club when you guys were ready to go home, just being really rude. And so, you all eventually get home. You and your friend Tim are really annoyed at this chick Marissa. And then next week when you're all talking amongst yourselves, Tim talks to Marissa, you talk to Marissa, all this back and forth. When you're explaining your story or how you felt about how things went down, that's totally normal. That's cool. And Marissa admits, she's like, man, I'm so sorry, I was an idiot. That's a little different. So nobody's trying to control how you perceive Marissa. You're annoyed with her. Tim's annoyed with her. You guys all work it out. You're like, just don't be an idiot again or whatever. That's not a person controlling the narrative. Now, let's use a similar situation to this. We're going to use the same names to make it easier. So you all go out. Let's say it's the same scenario, just to make it easier. You, Tim, and Marissa go out, party, have a good time. Marissa's really obnoxious. She doesn't want to go home when you guys want to go home. You're tired. And eventually you say, Marissa, we need to go home. It's like 2:00. We're tired. We're going home. And you drop her off. You're just like, oh my God, I'm just irritated with her. Now, Monday comes, and now Marissa is going around telling your other friends, your mutual friends, that you are like the worst bitch ever. That you made her leave after she had paid for her, what is it called when you go into the club? You know, like your admission fee. And that she tells all these other mutual friends of yours that you were so nasty to her, and that she had just paid for her admission fee to get into the bar or the club, and she was having a good time and she wanted to stay, and you, because you're the evil one, made her leave after 10 minutes. And that she was disgusted with you, and how dare you get into her business like that, and she wasted her money, she didn't even finish her drink, and she was only there for 10 minutes, and that you were calling her names and, you know, made her cry, and you were just like the worst awful person. And then she adds in that Tim was just as bad. That, you know, you and Tim were like the most evil sort of friends that she could imagine, and that she never wanted to go out with us again, and that they ruined her night we ruined her night because we made her leave early. Everything she's doing is lying, and probably a little gaslighting thrown in to confuse everyone. But that is what the narcissist will do, because they can't dare for a minute let other people see who they really are. And this was just one incident, but this was the incident with Marissa, and she didn't want to leave the club. It was 2:00. Everyone was ready to go home. She did not want people to see her in a negative way, so she created this big lie of a story. And that's what they do. And you'll really be tipped off when you see that one person is trying to control how others perceive you or your friends, whomever is the target. So she was trying to make me look bad, or you know, I'm just using you as an example. She's trying to make you look bad, and she's trying to make Tim look bad. Because then she comes out smelling like flowers. But little do the other people know, the other mutual friends know, that underneath she smells like poo-poo. And me personally, I've come to this conclusion. Any time other people are buying into all these stories of bullshit, and then they don't really want to talk to you anymore, they were never your friend to begin with. So, what is that old saying, you know, let the trash take itself out? So, and I've noticed that narcissist types, you know, the manipulators, they, especially the more like coercive, like quiet types, they will come into a situation or an environment and just take over the whole thing. It's kind of like what I had talked about in another video where they hijack. But I would say to anyone, be really careful of people like that. Be careful, because it's never a good sign when people are trying to always have the spotlight on them, or they're trying to control how others see other people. Or even as far as that goes, and this goes for like cults, is a narcissistic person or a cult leader is going to control everything. They're going to, it's just, and how you know you're in an environment like that is you start to feel like uncomfortable. You start to feel nervous. When you're around this person or persons, you start to feel like your stomach gets either queasy or you feel a little bit nauseous. And that's your your internal compass or your intuition telling you something's not right. Something's not right. And there's all different ways that they can use. I mean, honestly, if you go listen to, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Janja Lalick, I think I said it right. She's really good at explaining cults, as she was in one. And Stephen Hassan also, he's really good. But it's just my personal opinion, and I suppose I'm not right on every single person, but I think the majority of people leading a cult would be a narcissist. Or they, and a lot of times when they're more malignant or sadistic, they're closer to a sociopath. And when you go all the way up the scale, the psychopaths are very rare. But yeah, you know who was a real psychopath was, go look online about this. It was called the Ray's Cult, R-A-Y apostrophe S, Ray's Cult in New York. That dude's a freaking psychopath. And I do think a lot of people, you know, psychotherapists and that did diagnose him as a psychopath. That was really horrible. But, you know, getting back to controlling the narrative, it is really amazing to me how many ways they have to control the narrative. Thought-stopping techniques, interrupting, deflection, changing the topic, interrupting you, talking over you. There's just, and as I've said, a lot of times you're just not going to know you're in it. You're just not when you're in it, because especially if everybody's laughing, you're having a good time, like it's going to be kind of hard to to determine or feel that what's happening. But yeah, it's just, and I've been observing a lot of different kinds of either groups, and as I've talked, you know, till I'm blue in the face about workplaces, there's like this, it's like you're a cog in a wheel, which of course is more like the whole pyramid scheme thing that's going on throughout the entire world. You know, pyramid, you know, it's all bullshit. So if you're a cog in the wheel, you know, there you are, perpetuating the narcissistic cycle, the abuse, trauma, you know, what is it? Trauma, love bombing, devalue, and there's another one. But it's like, you know, kiss, make up, all this craziness. And I really think that, and I've said this before, all these goofy headlines that you see with like a lot of celebrities or politicians, it's obviously controlling the narrative. I mean, I think that's just a really good example because it's so precise and it's just all the public relations, like they want to control how other people see them. And not all of it's bad. I don't mean all of it's bad because it's not all bad. But I just think that's a great example. And really, if you can feel, like, use your feelings and know that you don't feel good around a certain person or persons, or you don't feel happy, or you feel stifled, or that's someone else controlling the narrative. And they're making you an actor in their play, and you are supposed to be, they're going to assign you a role, and you need to continue to play that role that they gave you. The minute that you go out of character and you're not playing that role, they get upset with you, or they try to control it back and say blah, 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 blah. Like whatever they're going to say, they're going to make a statement that's going to support the bullshit lie that they're trying to push on everyone else. Oh, you know, Tina, she's like this. You know how she is. That's a real controlling statement right there. Oh, you know, Tina, she always gets drunk when she goes to a party. Something like that. You know, they're always going to do that. So, I hope this was helpful. Like and subscribe if you choose. Have a good day or good night, wherever you are. Peace.